What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Kegges back with you on a Tuesday night. A lot of weather to talk about, of course. The tropics are trying to bubble a little bit. We're going to break that down. There are two areas now highlighted by the National Hurricane Center that we are going to take a look at over the next couple of minutes here. We are also going to be tracking the opportunity for some more thunderstorms across Central Florida. Those guys are going to try to develop tomorrow. So rain chances are going to be on the rise over the next couple of days. I think really trying to bleed up from South Florida, where we saw them the other day, and try to push their way back up to kind of where we had them this afternoon. So watching a couple of different areas across Central Florida for the opportunity for some thunderstorms. We are going to break down the best opportunity to see rain as we move forward into the afternoon tomorrow. So bear with me. We are going to go through a bunch of stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We're taking a live look on my other camera here in Oak Hill and in Duck Key this evening. So thank you guys a ton for being here on a Tuesday night. We are going to get right into it and talk a bunch of weather. I'm just fixing my camera here, and then we are getting ready to rock and roll. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Okay, so we're going to start with the tropics. That's on top of the mind because really for the first time in a long time, there are a couple of things to track, but I don't even know that I've seen thunderstorm activity this prolific in the Atlantic in a long time. It's been a while. I feel like a lot of times we've taken a look at this map together. There's been a lot of clear skies. Now we do have several tropical waves. Of course, this one here that has that red highlight is Invest 92L. This is the one that has a decent chance. I mean, it has a high chance to develop, although it's going through some things right now. It's a very, very big storm. And when these storms are big, it's harder for them to organize. So that's one of the things in the short term it's going to have working against it. And then once it gets back up into the area of the Northeast Caribbean at the end of that kind of red area, that is where environmental conditions aren't the greatest. We have wind shear out there, and that's going to help to keep it on the weaker side. So the next couple of days, it's going to be interesting because if it doesn't make a run to tighten up and become a tropical system, it might be a couple of extra days that we're waiting. It's likely a foregone conclusion this time that we are going to get something here. Okay, so tropical models on this. This is, I know, what everybody likes to look at, so I want to show them to you. Notice how they go north, they go west, and I know that kind of red shaded area is concerning when you look at it going to the west, but it is going to turn to the north. There is a very, very large weather system that is going to help keep this thing offshore. Now, the one place we're going to watch is going to be Bermuda. This should even skirt to the east. There's Bermuda. There's all the models. So we like it when it goes up and out completely and misses everybody. Now, it might not do that. I think it has a pretty decent shot to do that. But the one thing that I am very confident in saying is that this is not a Florida storm, and this is likely not going to hit the United States or the Canadian Maritimes as it goes up and out. If I have anybody watching from Canada or anybody watching from the Caribbean or Bermuda, I know we have a couple of guests every now and then that will jump in from different parts of the world. I want to show you why. So one of the things I always say here that I always like to show my work. I don't just like to show the models, I like to show you why the models are showing something. So this little donut hole right here, that's the storm on Thursday, September 18th. It's fairly weak. We just talked about that there's wind shear in that area. It's likely going to keep the storm weak. So watch what happens. There's going to be a lot of movement here. And then here we go on Wednesday, September 24th. All those lines tightly packed together. It means we have a pretty strong storm near Bermuda. But it's this area in blue. And you see how the lines kind of dip a little bit. That's a trough or a dip in the jet stream. And as we have that coming down, as we get into the end of the weekend, early next week, it's going to help to lift the storm up and really weaken this area of high pressure that's in the middle of your screen here, that clockwise flow. It's going to help to grab it and send it packing. So as we get deeper, the one benefit of having tropical activity roll off Africa late, like what we're seeing this year, if it stays north of the Caribbean, it has a fairly decent shot to just go and get on out of here and not impact land, because we are seeing more cold fronts and troughs and dips in the jet stream like we're seeing here. So that should take care of whatever Invest 92L becomes and send it packing. So I wanted to show you that. I think that's important to show why this is not coming to Florida or the United States in all likelihood. It's Tuesday, so I also want to show you the long-range tropical outlook. Now, this is released every Tuesday, and this is something that we do every Tuesday night during hurricane season. We break down the Climate Prediction Center's thoughts when it comes to the long range. So this is now looking at September 24th through September 30th. So a long kind of way out there. We're now, that's a better look. It was kind of combining both places. So September 24th through September 30th, this is the long-range outlook. 2 areas highlighted. There's likely going to be a third wave rolling off of Africa. So this is post the 2 that we have highlighted. That's that peach area, greater than 20% shot between the 24th and the 30th. Then there's the Bay of Campeche, Central America gyre setup in that same time frame that we would watch something potentially try to get going there. So those are the 2 areas we'd be watching, the 24th and the 30th. And we do anyway. That's pretty much spot on with climatology. It was you round off the last few days of September. Look at this, October. It's crazy that we're already talking about October, but the long-range forecast now completes the first week of October, and there's still some waves likely moving off of Africa. We saw this last year, that typically this time of the year, we really start to see, by October standards anyway, we really start to see the Cabo Verde season shut down, and we have sole focus over here. But since we are popping things late, could be another African wave we need to watch in that first week. And then also, this is the area that we don't like to see light up, because we know this time of the year has not been kind to the southeast corner of the United States on the Gulf side. So always watching this area anyway, but the Hurricane Center, the Climate Prediction Center, has this area highlighted. I want to show you some of the ensemble members here. And let me pull over my other screen. This is kind of the long-range look before we hit our first break. And that's 92L. That's kind of everything fading away. This is the area. Let me get back over here. So there's a little bit of ensemble support on the European side for something trying to get going in the Bay of Campeche. And again, that's going to be late in the period between the 24th and the 30th. So we are seeing some long-range ensemble support. We also have that in the Google DeepMind AI model for potentially something later in the period. There are a few lines in the Western Caribbean. There's not a ton of support, but there's some there. That is way out into the future. I mean, we are talking, what even is that? We're out 288 hours to September 28th. So there's a lot of time to watch all of that. Alrighty, guys. Thank you a ton for tuning in. I have to get to my first break. When we come back, there's a lot of questions in here. I'm going to try to get to some of those hurricane-related questions. I do think rain chances start to ramp up in Central Florida as we get into tomorrow. Some of that humidity starts pushing back. We're going to break all of that part down of the forecast when we come back in just 3 minutes. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. We are coming at you live on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here on a Tuesday night and spending some time together as we just talk about the weather and break things down and just hang out and just have fun talking about the weather. Okay, so Richard is asking here. He says, it looks like something is cooking over Western Cuba. Anything there? It certainly does look like that. I'm going to pull up the satellite so we can show you exactly what Richard is talking about. I don't think it's going to be anything organized, but what I am seeing out of the deal, this is actually partially related to that front that came down to help to cool things down for Central Florida. So there's a lot of just disorganized thunderstorm activity. Now, once we have this much stuff going on, we always look to see if anything can consolidate. But this would be the area to watch, I think, in a couple of weeks. So I don't think anything's going to materialize out of this right now. It's just a bunch of disorganized thunderstorms, but certainly it has been a very long time since we've seen this much thunderstorm action in the Florida Straits, in the Southern Gulf, in the Western Caribbean. Again, it's a sign that things are, I think, turning a little more unstable, and we would expect that now that we are rounding out into the middle of September when instability naturally starts to go back up. What's going on, my friend? It's been talk about something in the Gulf at the end of this month. What's going on with that? So there's nothing concrete. We're going to naturally look there anyway. 'Tis the season. So there's nothing on the radar. There's not even a long range model showing that right now. If you missed this, this might be what they're referring to. This is going to be the area to watch as we close out September, and the Bay of Campeche could have some of those thunderstorms over the Central American Gyre kind of materialize and potentially lift up to the North Gulf Coast. So that could be what's doing it. There is some ensemble support, and the Central American Gyre looks to get going a little bit as we get deeper into September and then really into October. Limitless Lightning says, revenge of hurricane season. I have a feeling October, Gulf and West Caribbean. How strong does the MJO look? For that, we're going to head on over to the other weather computer, and I want to show you the rising motion. So there's a lot going on this map, and I have to bust out my other telestrator. Let me see where I put that thing. I hid it on the desktop somewhere. The green represents rising motion. This is likely partially, at least, related to the MJO. This is, by the way, through September 30th. The biggest anomaly in green, and that's what we're looking for here. The green anomalies represent anomalous rising motion, so greater than normal rising air. You can't get thunderstorms without air rising. So when there's more of it, there's a chance for tropical activity, because in the first stage of tropical activity, you need to have thunderstorms organizing. So that's through the September 30th. Watch what happens. Take it out another week. That's October 7th. I don't like that signal. I don't like that signal at all, because that puts climatology with extra forcing. And I never like when the two of those meet up. So, I mean, that does line up actually with what, I mean, and that's why they did it. They're looking at these large scale forecastable entities just as much as we are. And that's exactly where we would be watching for that first week. So again, that's some pretty big rising motion. It extends out through October 14th. So we still have some green there. So we're going to be watching basin wide through the middle of October. And then finally, I think this is through October 21st. We've long said that from the middle of September through the middle of October, that we would have a 4 to 5 week window where I think we're going to shove in hurricane season again this year. There it is. So we're going to have to do some dodging. Hopefully we keep wind shear out there, but holy cow. That's a lot of rising motion that we would certainly expect something to get going down there. Now, maybe it develops on the Pacific side. That'd be great. And just heads out here and meanders over the cooler water. I would love that. We want to keep it out of here, because the one byproduct of a quiet season, we haven't really brought cooler water to the Gulf and Western Caribbean. It is juiced out there to the max. And yeah, don't don't want that at all. Um by and large, I think so. I don't think anything will threaten Florida for the rest of September. I don't think so. I'm just looking off into space and at the computer projection. I think we're gonna we at the very end of the month there could be something. I don't have any indication. There's nothing painting that picture. But boy, I think at the end of the month, that's whenever we have to start looking. I would certainly put it though, the first week of October is the much better play, if you will, if there's going to be a threat. And again, there is nothing credible out there. There's nothing suggesting that we are going to be there. It's just we're looking for where the atmosphere is going to be primed to produce these thunderstorms, and that's going to be in the area. And unfortunately, when storms get going in this area, they normally go north and then lift east. That's why I hate October. I hate October and hurricane season. I love the month. It might be one of the best months, just not for hurricane season. Alrighty, guys, have to get a quick break in. Be back in just 3 minutes. Stick with me. Alrighty, guys, want to show you one thing, and then I want to just touch on the Florida forecast real quick. Kind of did things out of order tonight. There's been a lot of talk about this thing up in the Carolinas, Virginia area. It's kind of felt like a tropical storm. It had a lot of spiral with it as it moved forward. Let me put this into motion. You can kind of see. And there's been a lot of why didn't the Hurricane Center name this or why isn't it a tropical storm? The dead giveaway here is you see the surface map, there are fronts attached to it. So where you might be able to make an argument, it could be a little bit of warm core getting super sciencey or whatever. This was a non-tropical entity. Remember, nor'easters look like hurricanes sometimes when they're battering the northeast or even off the Florida coast. When the winds are out of the northeast, that's where you get a nor'easter. But again, non-tropical storms look like they all spin counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere. So that's what's going on in the North Carolina, Virginia area. If you have any friends there that might be saying that, I saw a lot of stuff on social media tonight that there was like, hey, Hurricane Center missed this one. It's not scientifically tropical, and that's why it's not named. So I want to show you the Florida forecast for tomorrow. This is through tonight. And again, we're still dealing with some thunderstorms out there late into the evening between Orlando and Lake Okeechobee tonight. Tomorrow, look at the push of moisture coming back into South Florida. That's 11 o'clock. And these are related to the thunderstorms that were in the Caribbean that Richard brought up. So that's kind of lifting back to the north a little bit. And you see that advance, and that's going to help to increase rain and thunderstorm chances again tomorrow. So to answer Melissa's question, there's a slight chance for a downpour or storm tomorrow in New Smyrna. I think the highest opportunity, though, is going to be around Orlando into the west. And you see that there with the widespread nature of the rainfall. And that's going to continue again as we move into the 7 to 8 o'clock hour. And by this time tomorrow, we could be tracking some late night downpours or rumble of thunder. So we'll see if that pans out as part of the forecast. Again, some of that humidity coming back that we got rid of over the weekend, that's going to work its way back into the picture as well. The rain that moved up tonight, Jody, that was all in the forecast. It got a little bit further north than I thought, but I thought it was going to be I-4 and southeast. So that's what happened with the rain tonight. There was a 30% shot for thunderstorms tonight. And really along in southeast of I-4, some of those pushed a little to the north and west, deviating from the forecast a little bit to the north and west where I thought. I think this paints a picture a little bit for tomorrow, really for the next 3 days, where the rain is going to focus. Where you see the darker greens and yellows, that's where the heaviest rain is going to be. And where you see the lighter blues or grays, that's where the rain chances aren't so high or the rain is not going to be so heavy. So really north and west of I-4 over the next couple of days, still, relatively speaking, on the drier side. Alrighty, guys, I have to get going to get ready for News 6 at 10 o'clock. If you are on News 6 Plus, keep it parked right here. We're going to be on to talk about the latest headlines, of course. I'll be back to show you some of the latest model data to get you through your day tomorrow, as we are expecting, again, the increasing storm chances for the afternoon and evening. Then we're going to talk much more about the tropics, of course, as well. We are here every Monday through Friday at 9:30. I'll catch you guys tomorrow in this chair and again in about 5 minutes or so on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube channel. Thanks so much for being here, guys. We'll catch you soon.